With this episode, the human race as we know it will end today. We are now the last survivors of mankind. Welcome to the Three Body Narrative. We are your podcast hosts, Pradyum, Aaron, and Naeem, minus Aaron. And we are here to discuss everything pop culture, movies, TV shows, and games. For today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Korean sci-fi thriller The Great Flood. All right, so what is The Great Flood all about? Well, it's a film in which a massive world engulfing flood traps an AI researcher and her young son in their apartment building. As water rises, she must struggle to survive and find a way to safety while confronting mysterious higher stakes about humanity's future amid the devastation. All right, so who's diving in headfirst into this rating?
Well, you went first the last time, so I'll do you a favor with this one. This movie, it starts off promising. It's got all the right ingredients for a great, brilliant disaster movie. Right? And I think that's about it, right? Like, it's just got the ingredients. And it just, like, I can't say it overcooked it. I can't say it undercooked it. I think it's just it got the ratio wrong in terms of mixing the ingredients. I don't know, but it's very frustrating that it had everything it needed to be a really memorable movie, uh, but it really like heavily falls short of that. I think the runtime of the movie is around 1 hour 45 to 1 hour 50 minutes. I enjoyed the first 30 to 35 minutes. Like, I think for that moment, I felt um, like anxious for the characters. I was in for the story beats. I love the irritating nature of the kid in this movie, and like to the fact that I was like to my partner saying like, "My God, this kid is like so irritating. I just want to leave this kid behind." Like, and that doesn't speak too well about me, but like, I mean, kudos to the kid who played that role. He was supposed to play that role, and he's done it really well. Performances, I can't really, I can't like say they haven't done a good job. I think they've done really good with what script they've been given. So, keeping all of that in mind, I think I'd rate this a 2 out of 5. Largely because, again, it had everything it needed, but it fails to deliver because I don't think it does justice to, because there are like two main storyline threads technically in this, and I don't think it does justice to either of those.
Sure. All right, so my rating for this movie is going to be a 2 out of 5 as well. Okay, I agree with you probably on all fronts. I think for me, this movie starts off with a lot of promise, and I think for the first act, it delivers. For me, I was anxious. I loved the flood, the sort of water that comes in. Oh my god, that really like ramped up the anxiety levels. Like it kind of, I wouldn't say it came close to home per se, but it really scared me. Like if something like this was to happen, how would I react, right? And going into this, I just thought it was just going to be a very uh, difficult, not I mean, not a disaster movie, but it's just going to talk about the flood. I didn't know it was going to be like this humankind saving sort of disaster movie, right? 2012 almost. So I didn't expect
felt
that.
more from the trailer like a survival movie as opposed to um, post-apocalyptic. Well,
Yeah, anything related to sci-fi. I just felt like all they had to do is just go try and maybe get up to the highest point and wait until this subsides, all of that. But as and when it started to unravel, that was intriguing. But for me, it definitely overcomplicated things, right?
Mm.
I think uh, I think maybe they should have just stuck to maybe to the sort of linear timeline and just the original story. Just I think overcomplicated things and by the end of the movie, I wasn't sure what I was actually watching and what was going on. Right? It was only subtle hints that I had to pick up to kind of understand. Okay, here's where we are. Here's where we're getting to, and the ending for me kind of just fell flat. While I understand what happens, it's still not the clearest of ideas put through, right? It's not followed through quite quite well, and I feel like, yeah, that's probably down to the writing and the script. I think in performances wise, I think all of the characters played it quite well, whether it be the guy from Squid Game who, you know, played a very dutiful soldier, whether it be the mother who was played a she was very believable as a young mother, right? And the
Yeah.
kid, of course, who, yeah, I mean, at times you kind of just wonder, like, where did he go off to? What is he doing? Like, just stick to the script, right?
It's
Like,
like you stay here, and the next moment he's like, you turn around and he's already gone. You're like,
yeah, and
okay,
so that's my rating. But like, talking about that point, it's like that point where he goes following in. I think he's searching for the bathroom and he goes into a house, and then she goes,
yeah,
and then the water just
okay,
blasts
yeah,
in. I'm like, oh shit. Okay,
bleak,
so
yeah,
okay, let's kind of first. Did you understand? So okay, just maybe to clarify everything, right? So the first act that we see, which is the first bit,
mm,
that actually happens.
yeah.
Like,
That,
so she
that's
she
my
get
take on it, right? Like, I mean, that's what I understand. That it did happen a long time ago, like a really, really long time ago, right?
huh.
I mean, there, there have been, because I think from that moment on, when they tried to escape again, and we're heading into full spoiler territory now, so anyone who's not watched the movie and plans on watching the movie, I'd suggest like drop off. But yeah, I
So
think
stick
what
with us.
happened here, I mean, if and again, like having watched the movie, like go finish watching the movie and then come back and resume watching the review, so that we can align or figure out if we have similar thoughts, or like you have a differing um, uh, review about this movie, right? But again, I digress. Coming back to this, so my assumption of the movie is that first 40-45 minutes maybe, where the actual disaster is taking place, that's happened like quite some time ago, and the mother actually abandons the kid,
Hmm.
which even then an AI, of course, uh, right? And while exiting the planet before this thing, she kind of like says that, the memory bit, whatever it is, like my conscience with his stuff, put it in together so that she becomes a part of the simulation for the emotional engine to take shape, right? And they keep running.
Yeah. So I don't know how long. So okay. So when you said a long time ago, I wasn't sure because for me, I didn't think of that being a long time ago. But sure, because for me, the simulations happen quite quickly. So for me, I feel
That's
like that is not too far a timeline. However, whatever said
yeah,
and done, I think the first bit is that she gets onto the rooftop. The bodyguard dies, or the soldier dies. The kid is handcuffed, and his sort of shaved head is shaved. Blah blah blah. All of that, right? And as they're exiting the planet, I think the rocket in front of them crashes or gets hit by one of the
as
asteroids or something, right?
yeah,
And then she gets hurt as well
yeah,
because the shrapnel comes and hits the other rocket. But they still have time to kind of, she's still alive, so she kind of says, if we had to save humankind, we've got the kid side of it done, but we need to
yeah,
make sure that I think the parent side or the mother side is sort of this thing. And they didn't have any other samples, so she said, put myself in there, I'm guessing.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then comes the different iterations of what she missed out on in the first real simulation or real life scenario. And then she goes back and tries to kind of.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to figure out is that true emotion of what a mother's love is, right? And I think that's the thing that they're trying to nail, which takes multiple iterations. You see, it's gone above 1,000, I think, if I'm not wrong. And to that point where eventual realization of what the actual goal is during that disaster, what she needs to do for the kid, what she feels for the kid genuinely, all of that is invoked. Again, the concept is really nice. There's no doubt about it. It's really good. But I think there are two different movies happening here, and that's my problem with it, right? I love the disaster movie of it. The second one, because it's plugged in with the disaster movie, first of all, I feel kind of like, hey, I was looking for a movie that was, no, it's a thumbs down, sorry. I was looking for a movie that was akin or similar to A Day After Tomorrow
Yeah.
or 2012. I mean, if I can say, like, again, like, not the greatest of movies. Maybe A Day After Tomorrow, I kind of liked it a little better. But again,
Yeah.
um, what I would say is, like, both of those were stuck to their guns in terms of it being a disaster movie. They marketed themselves as that, and they were exactly that. The problem with this movie is, I think, and we reviewed the trailer for this movie, if I recall right, and it looked like a disaster movie, and then from there you've kind of gone into a sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
I
I,
recall
I
it
don't think in the
having
trailer there was any hint of
any,
sci-fi or
yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that, right? So yeah.
So I kind of like, I go into this expecting something and then I get something else. So I think that also kind of spoils the taste of what it's supposed to be. But again, more than anything else is the fact that the disaster side of the movie is really damn good. The other side of it, maybe because there's not enough time to cook that, to let it simmer and all of that. Like, I think that in itself requires a lot of time. I don't think maybe they could have done it.
It maybe felt like they had the disaster movie, right? But the disaster movie was couldn't span more than like 45 minutes to 1 hour. And they're like, let's
Yeah,
add another kind of element to
yeah,
it, which is the sci-fi bit. And I don't know, I would have just loved watching it. Like I said, I love the water levels rising. You know, when the second wave comes and hits inside that house, I'm like, shit, this is insane, right?
yeah,
Um, and I kind of did like the relationship between the mother and the son. I kind of did like the. I mean, she's a young mother who's a young widow, right? And whose husband's unfortunately passed, and she's struggling to cope with this kid who technically is not hers. It's obviously an AI,
yeah.
right? And she doesn't have that sort of feeling, and that's kind of apparent. But she wants to do whatever she can for that child. It's kind of like, if you recall, like in movies they have like kids are given like an egg to protect, right? As a
Yeah,
homework.
yeah,
Yeah, and you're kind of doing that. And but it's apparent, like anything that happens, she still goes, she knows it's an AI, but she still kind of does a lot of things to help the kid. And I kind of found that slightly endearing. And you obviously had the bodyguard come into it as well, on say bodyguard, soldier per se, right? And yeah, that he was a bit of a grumpy, sorry,
extraction specialist, I said.
extraction specialist. Yeah, yeah. But what did you make of the mother son sort of bond that they had?
Very, like, raw and very, like, it felt real, right? Like, it felt like, again, that kid was so annoying. I felt like I've seen this kid at some one of the weddings in India or something, and I'll be like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like kids like that. And I mean, I do like kids generally, but that phase where kids get really like, um,
I,
what's
I don't even
what's
think it was like in the sense that it wasn't done in malice or anything. He just did not want to listen and just did.
and all. Yeah, yeah. Again, like, I think it's just, it depends, right? Like, I think he's not getting enough attention, and as part of that, all of that is kind of. uh, those different emotions or certain character traits are coming about because of the lack of attention and stuff like that. So I get all of that. It's just the kids done a really good job of like making you feel irritated, I suppose. But like I really like the relationship between the two and how that develops. And I think the emotional beats are there. Again, at times it feels undercooked because for while you see them for the first half of the movie, the second half is like the kid's gone, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you kind of don't see more of that, only bits and pieces here and there, kind of a thing. So I think uh, that from that perspective, you didn't see it's something that was really good, but didn't get enough time or focus on it. I think this movie could have done better as a series as opposed to a movie in itself. It could have also been a three-part trilogy where there is the first movie that's all about the disaster, the second movie that's about the survival post the disaster and the plan to kind of um, make sure the humanity survives, and then the third part, I guess, is to culminate all of that together in terms of seeing how they would survive in a disaster scenario. I don't know, like, I mean, it
Yeah.
for me, everything is very clear in terms of the two movies should not have been together. Like, I love the fact that the concept is there. I don't think the concept gets enough. The concept of the sci-fi this thing, because when I think of this movie, I'm initially comparing it to the likes of Day After Tomorrow and 2012. But the moment that switch happens, I'm immediately comparing it to Source Code. And for
Oh
me,
yeah.
Source Code was a damn good movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it
That's a
is,
throwback and a half. Yeah.
yeah. And the brilliant thing about Source Code is in the way the repetitiveness of that movie does not bore you or
Yeah.
make you feel like, "Oh, I want to be done with this," kind of a thing, right?
Yeah. So
Uh,
here the repetition wise, right? Like obviously every uh you know iteration of the simulation, something or the other goes wrong, and I, I don't know. I mean, it takes 1,000 tries, so I'm not sure how this works. Of course, she in those tries she does a different. She does a whole load of different things, right? She goes into houses, she gets robbed, she gets like beaten to death, she gets shot at. The gas explosion happens. I mean, then she goes and helps the pregnant woman. It just feels like, why are you doing this? I don't know how the simulation is built, because ideally the idea is just to go find the kid, right? And I don't know where it is that why did it take 1,000 tries, you know,
yeah.
and
Okay. So that is the part where even I'm not completely clear on, but my assumption on that is they're they're trying to develop human emotion, right? And human emotion is not easy because there are so many variations of us. Like, not every human is so different in the way they feel and react to certain things. So what I understood, or what my take is from that, is the iterations kind of help them understand what are the different emotions. There's one which is like the most kind of selfish one initially, which also has hint of wanting to help in that kid being trapped in the elevator,
yeah.
and just like that slight hint of wanting. But otherwise, like, leaving that out, for the most part it is very selfish, right? Then as you go along the behavior, there are behavioral changes in the women itself. And I think all of that is being covered as basis to define or understand, or get like a proper marker of a human emotion, so that they can then feed that into, and there will be a lot of variations of that into the AI, whatever the next gen humans or whatever they called.
Okay, so now we talk about that simulation, right? And obviously she knows that she's in a simulation, right? Her memory is aware that she's in a simulation. She's trying to get better and better and trying to find the kid. The the extraction specialist does not know. He's bewildered by the fact that she knows exactly every move that he's going to make or everything that he's about to say, and the fact that he's going what his eventual, you know, end is right
Yeah.
on the rooftop. That's a bit like almost like a taboo in most of these kind of cases where you don't let the other person know that you know they're in a simulation in a way. So I don't understand.
But he's not. Right? So
So
from what I understood, he is a figment of her memory. Like that's what the original events were,
yeah,
right? And she is not communicating with an alternate person's
so
what
she's
do you
not
say?
going back in past and actually talking to a real life person. So
Oh,
this is just
she's
her
just
own self
reliving the
conscious.
memory.
Right,
She's
right.
reliving the memory is what I understand off of it.
No,
Right?
you
Like
might be
that's
right.
what.
Yeah. Okay. So in which case it doesn't really matter because it's just a figment of her, not imagination, but it is her recreation of that person from the past.
Yeah. My only thing with that is like while I do think that's what's happening, my only thing is how can her figment of memory also capture places she did not explore in the first go itself? You know, like it's a
Yeah.
it's a simulation built on the events of that day. Again, like maybe not all of it is real, maybe only one part of it is real, which is the whole concept of her getting needing to get to the rooftop, her having the extraction agent, her coming across the mother and who's pregnant, like the one
Yeah.
who's supposed
Yeah.
to deliver, and maybe that kid. Maybe those are the only real core memories that are there. Everything else is just like simulated in terms of an NPC, right? Like it's created in just to see how she reacts to certain situations and stuff like that, and based off of that, that is, I think, what it is. But again, I could easily be wrong. So, people, if you have better knowledge about this subject, please sound off in the comments. Tell us how we are wrong because we both did not take science. So, please help us out.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for that. Yes. But yes. Okay. Now the other person, which is the mother's, which is the main character, Anna's boss, mentor, is supposedly dead or
Yeah.
is not they're not able to get a hold of her, which is they assume that she's dead along with her child, right?
Yes.
um but I don't think that's the case. I think she is, because that's the thing at the end that he says that she is actually alive.
Really? Okay. I
Yeah.
think I
So
missed.
I think he lied to her saying that she's dead, but she's actually alive, and I think she's with the other. She abandoned her son, and she's also part of that entire. She took the helicopter also. I think that's what it is, if I'm not mistaken again. Um, so so that's an interesting take because obviously we do see slight flashbacks as to when they're working on that entire project, right? We see the tidal waves of emotions and all of that, and there's a lot of discussion. Now, one thing which I think is true is the father is not no
Yeah.
longer alive, right? Which is weird because that's also a very water-based incident. So these people cannot get away from that. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, living in an island, fair enough, but even then, it was I don't understand that bit because obviously the idea was to save the kid in that car crash and when the car submerges down, right? But the kid's not real, so why not save? I don't know.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
felt. I'm like, you could have just built a new one, right? What was the need to have to sacrifice yourself for the
Yeah.
kid?
At that point, especially because it's not a disaster that's causing it. It's not the end of the world yet, right? At that point of time, it's the end of your partner probably. So I think you kind of like have to take that call of like AI. Yeah, I probably get laid off and stuff like that. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But right now, I need to save this person who's actually a human.
Yeah, but
Um,
also you'd just tell that you'd just I'd tell my partner, just leave him and just come. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out, right? So that was when I was like a little bit. So it's like, is this kid actually real right now, or what is happening? And then I'm like,
I really
why
hope
would you
none
do
of
it?
the AI is like listening into our conversations right now because they're like, these guys go right to the top of our hit list. They clearly don't want us to survive. They would sacrifice us in a heartbeat, right? So,
Yeah, but
um,
I mean, you can't recreate. You could recreate the kid. I'm sure it costs a lot of money, but it is possible. So I just didn't see that need to. And also, yes, maybe, see, for me, what it added was just extra anxiety on the part of the mother, because she's faced a similar situation where the waters caused a lot of trauma, right?
yeah,
So you're back again there. But I, I didn't see the reason to really have that entire um, you know the need for the
so,
father to have died that way.
yeah, or need to have the father there at all for that matter.
Yeah.
Because, like, you said, like the water trauma, I don't think it hits you as much, right? Like, I mean, initially, I think you see it for the first time. She's climbing up on the thing and she sees the water down, kind of a thing. But then again, like, it doesn't have to be any kind of water trauma. Even if I'm climbing up there, I would feel the same. This like the world is fucking ending and I am on the verge of falling over here. So
Yeah,
very
yeah.
different. So I don't need that trauma to begin with. But again, I think
But
it's
also,
just
it's so convenient that, like, you just fall into the water level anyway rises, you just swim to another you know floor, and you go jump up and then go running around. But man, some of the stuff that they were doing to get to the to the roof, like, you remember where the part where, because of the gas explosion, he climbs up that way and then she has to climb up and lift. I'm like, how is this
on
even
top of that,
happening?
the kid was like uh, being very difficult to
Yeah.
deal with. And did she fall off at that point?
Yeah, 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 she did, yeah.
And that's when she goes and tries to help the kid again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. This movie, like, uh, it has like certain really good moments, and then you feel sad about that all the potential it had. It kind of didn't
There's
live
also
up to
that
it.
point where they get to that old couple's house, and the sun comes up and everything's like calm, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay, what's happening right now? What's gonna happen? And then suddenly it just rains again, and the flood starts over. Right? Like, I'm like, shit. Okay, you're going back to
I
that.
would not like considering everything, right? Even if it became sunny, I would take that moment as a immediate distinct to kind of get to higher ground with easier approach as opposed to waste time thinking things are going to this thing like it's not even been 5-10 minutes since this thing has subsided. So why are you taking the risk?
Yeah, I mean, they were admiring it also. And one thing we forgot to probably mention, the with the extraction specialist, he has a sort of grudge against AI or the way that this has been going around, because he was abandoned, if I'm not mistaken, as a kid.
Yeah, I don't think it's about the AI in itself. I think it's more about the mother and the relationship the mother has with the kid. She feels like there is no real choice here because all any human does the same thing. At the end of the day, it's all about their own interest as opposed to someone else's, even if it's their own kids. Because he's had a similar experience where his mom abandoned him. By the way, I took it a notch further. Jain, right? His name,
Yeah,
kid's
Gian. Yeah, yeah.
name. Jain,
Ja-
Jain, I think.
No, Gian. Giant.
I think,
Giant. Yeah,
well, okay.
and now
Like,
Giant.
I, I had a feeling, and in fact, even asked it, that maybe this guy in itself,
Is the
the
adult version of the kid? Yes,
yes.
yes,
So I
I
thought
did.
there's a time loop involved in there somewhere. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, consider me, what do you say? At least, like, even if it's not believable, I'm in for it to understand how this all works, right? But none of that really comes to. Again, like, thank you because there's enough in there
Yeah,
that makes it complicated. So any more
I
another.
definitely I definitely thought the same as well, and I thought that he was an AI as well. Like he was like one of
A
the
human
like a kid and
person,
left it. Yeah. So
a
I
grown up
definitely thought.
version of the this thing, I suppose. Like again, like for me at that point, it was all about nailing emotions at different ages and even in different genders, right? Like something that you feel different as a man, something that you feel different as a woman, something that you feel different as a child, whatever it is, whoever you identify as, the different emotions that you feel are being kind of explored, so that all of that is present when the new generation is being built and kind of being fed this whole emotion engine, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
we call it E square because emotion engine. So yeah,
E square. Yeah. No, the one thing I did like though was when the main character Anna, whatever, calls up her mother and she's on the phone while the parents die when the flood comes,
yeah,
and that was
yeah. I really like that. That was really emotional, by the way, and I
dark.
love the fact that the parent, the mother of this Anna, she's like initially saying that she was already saved, like they were taken out from that, you like all of that, and then eventually you realize that none of that is true. She's
Yeah.
just trying to calm the her daughter down and stuff like that, and the reality is so far from it, kind of a thing. And even the moment where she says like, I shouldn't have gotten you apartment in the second floor and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
whereas she herself, wherever she is, she's pretty much at the brink of death, right? And it's really sad that that conversation, like those moments in the film are like damn good. Like I really
Yeah.
feel like, but there's so much promise in this movie and potential. It just it just loses it the moment it goes into the sci-fi bit, because it's too much, I think, to cook into one movie. It
So
doesn't do justice.
I mean, talking about the sci-fi thing, right? Like, it's insane. Like, especially towards the end, it feels very like a game where it goes into this like that Matrix type orange field,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wait, where have I played this game before?
Yeah, yeah, it did. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've played Matrix, the part of Neo, but it felt very much to that when there's like glitches happening or the agents are entering and things like that. Um, so yeah, like concepts were really good. Just like I can't fathom how disappointed this movie made me, because I thought, like when I saw the trailer and stuff, that we had a really good movie, and it was Korean, right? So
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
done some really good movies in the past, uh, let's take Train to Busan, which is a zombie apocalypse, but like again to do with survival and stuff like that, which is damn good according to me.
Parasite.
And Parasite, of course, is a very different movie, but like I mean, Korean movies generally, from what I have experienced, have delivered to a very good level. This year, again, because it had all the things it needed, but then could not bring it together, it makes it more sad, kind of thing. If it was shitty to begin with, then it was a whole other case. Uh,
Uh,
yeah,
it's weird that it was only after the thousandth attempt that she looked at her phone, then realized that the kid was like probably in the on the rooftop in that cupboard.
yeah,
Like I'm like,
yeah.
you never looked at your phone before. Like
No,
great in
I think
this day and
the
age.
flood hitting, the event of the flood hitting is a little too overwhelming and stuff like that. And she's so, I think the takeaway from the movie is that you're so focused on your own survival. You're so focused about everything at hand except for what really matters per se. Like what the movie is trying to tell you is the ones that you love or the loved one and stuff like that.
I
Uh,
I honestly think that they could like with the survival thing, right? They could have spent a lot more time. I know they did it in the iterations, but they could have spent a lot more time with the kid that she rescues from the underwater lift, which is amazingly done.
yeah,
I like you could spend a little more time with the pregnant woman to kind of like you could have spent a lot more time there. Then of course the people who are robbing the house, right? I think that could have been done a little differently. I think the way they showed it felt a bit like what the hell what's happening. It's like okay, that's the stupidest way to even do. Like you want to stop it or you want to do what are you trying to do there? Like it just felt a bit off. But yeah, I think if you had spent more time in that in the first go itself, then we didn't need the sci-fi bit. I really liked how that was, going about. But crazy ass ending, which is asking the kid to jump straight into the water while she also would. Yeah.
Mom's gonna join you, kind of a thing. So yeah,
Like, do you know how to
it's like
swim?
taking a faith,
Yeah.
right? It's like take a leap of faith and everything. I think that's what they were going for. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, uh, again, like I think of all the good disaster movies. I think of Source Code. I think they are like really two good inspirations. It's just not come together in this movie. And like, who do you like? You only follow the script for me because in terms of the acting and everything that's done, it's like flawless. I can't really fault them for that. I felt what
A-
needed to be felt, even
And
though it's
also,
like
the CGI, or the like sort of the water and everything, right? I never
yeah,
felt at any one point in time that it looked so fake. Like, it looked genuinely like Soul was really underwater, like,
yeah.
completely.
Just one
And
question, by the way,
yeah,
right? So the meteor hit um
yeah,
at, at where did it hit? In Atlanta? No,
the Atlantic.
Atlantic.
No,
The Atlantic.
Arctic. No, the Arctic or something. No, that hits the
Okay.
uh those pole caps,
It,
whatever. One of the
okay. So it's the Arctic, and then you've got the line of waves coming, right? Um, how many though? Like, I mean, doesn't it
eh,
die down after a while, or is it like earthquakes are happening? Because what I was getting confused about is how it would or should have worked is that the first wave that comes is should ideally be the biggest one,
yeah.
and
So
then you have
normally,
the ones that
yeah.
come.
So normally with a tsunami of sorts, it is you have waves, but obviously
But a tsunami is born out of
an earthquake
underwater.
under, yeah. So tectonic plates hitting underwater earthquake, and then
Yeah,
this thing, right? Earth,
yeah,
yeah. And so an asteroid comes here. It's more like, of course, it does have an impact on the Earth's core and everything, right? So one is that the glacial thing itself melts,
yeah. Okay.
which would kind of increase sea level.
It's the water level, which I
Yeah.
understand, but it wouldn't be
No.
like
So yeah,
multiple.
it wouldn't. So the one thing is, it changes. There's a weather change because it starts pouring
Yes,
incessantly.
yes.
But on top of that, because of that, I'm guessing it does sort of cause an earthquake or whatever in that area, and then that comes in.
That
But
causes the
how many is a different thing, because it's a combination of different things. That it is the waves, it is also the rain, it is also all of that put together,
mm,
and
mm.
the rising water levels, all of it. Because if you look at it, there aren't too many waves that do come. There's one that hits
Yeah,
the if there's one that hits the apartment when they when she goes finding him, when she goes trying to find Jan. And then there's one, I'm guessing, with when the grandmother, or the Anna's mother, passes away. I'm sure that's a flood. That's also a wave. And I think there's one more later on, but it's not like there are wave after wave after wave. It's just couple of them, but the major thing is that the sea levels are rising along with just massive amounts of rain, and I think that's what is causing it. But you're right, I think there will be waves, but it does tend to at some point stop, as long as there's no further issues later
yeah, yeah.
on. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm what, like 15 floors, like God knows how long, God knows where. I mean,
Yeah.
the one thing about uh, I mean, the sad thing about Mumbai is you won't have anything that's outside as a staircase to climb. So everything's indoors. So you're probably all doomed to this thing. On top of that, I mean, there are quite a few really tall buildings, like 70 floors, 80 floors. So maybe, I don't know, but be interesting to know how one would react to it in that situation. I'll be just like, take
Hope,
me.
hopefully not in our life.
I'll swim as much as I can. After that,
It's like bye bye.
Kudat Jani. Yeah. Yeah.
You got some new tech gears. No, there's like one I've seen which is like folded like that, and you kind of like it swims to the top, kind of a thing.
Yeah. So you have that. I mean, so yeah, I wish we had like what Star Wars Episode One, Obi-Wan had that the mouth
Yeah,
breathing thing, yeah, apparatus there, or yeah, I mean, honestly, it's weird because with the amount of times they fall, she's able to hold her breath underwater for so long. And I'm saying this is
yeah.
before even the this thing, like
She had
even
practice.
the car crash,
Car crash she had practice from, so
even
like
the
okay.
car crash. It's like they're quite deep, like they fall into the basically the sand bed of
Abyss.
the yeah to the abyss. Like anyone who's done scuba diving would know that by then you're delirious. So probably like so because you're that far down, your ears go out and
Pressure.
yeah
Yeah,
pressure goes up, right? So for all you know, the husband's actually still alive. What she's just seen is like a hallucination.
uh, yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, no, I think overall a
Did we cover
very
every bit of this movie in terms of what was there to be spoken about? Like, I mean, the core is obviously the kid and the mother's relationship. Spoke about the extraction agent. Um, the
no. So
emotion engine we spoke about.
one yeah, one thing I want to know is like the kid draws what he's seen in the actual scenario, right? Like he draws his mom's face with the helicopter and everything like that. So
When I see
I'm
multiple iterations of the helicopter, I think I see different drawings or slightly varying drawings in each variation, kind of a thing.
but
And that was interesting to me in terms of what shaped or changed in terms of that event being recreated, like what has led to that happening, kind of a thing. Yeah,
and also like so he does it because it's his mind because he's not a figment of her
he's not a
even.
figure.
So he's got his own. So he knows that he's in a continuous loop that way
Yeah,
because he does say why am I always 6 years old or something like that. He does ask, right? So he kind of is aware of that. So that's interesting to see how and for like if only the mother had seen this in like probably iteration 5 or 10, like had listened to her child and just looked at the drawing, she would have known exactly where he was. I can't believe it like
yeah.
took her like 900 500 odd tries before she could realize that he's stuck in a cupboard there.
Thousand,
No, so I no, but 1,000 is when she eventually gets there. But by that time, she kind of knows that it's there, but she dies a couple of times
trying to
doing
get
other
there.
stuff, trying to get there, right? She does something stupid, or the extraction specialist tries to shoot his way out and dies, so stuff like that. So, yeah, I think overall, we've discussed this quite extensively, but to think about it, it's not very complicated, but I think it's too complicated for its own good as a movie per se to kind of go about it.
I mean, if you divide the movie into what it's supposed to be, it's easier to comprehend. It's just the fact that there are multiple movies, according to me, playing at the same time.
Because
Um,
it also gave me interstellar sort of vibes, especially the wave coming in,
yeah,
which is one of the
that kind.
planets. You have also the safe saving humankind, which is the reason they all go to different planets trying to find a
Obviously,
new
seeing
planet.
satellites at the end as well. So
By the way, so the ending is they trying to come back to Earth, an already newly shaped Earth.
yeah, I think that's the point, right? Like they're looking at a flooded Earth that's kind of settling in or something, and then
Yeah,
the
it's not
next.
that they're going to find a different planet. It's like we're just going out, staying out there for a
Letting it
bit.
stabilize, letting it reset so that we can come and screw it all over again, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Then,
Now, I
then
mean,
we'll see
obviously, I mean, honestly, with all the water there and everything, you'd want to kind of create humans with gills because that's the only way we're going to survive. right?
Yeah.
Or like, like webbed feet and webbed hands, so that we
Uh,
that's a
this AI probably like the robots they're building or the human species that they're building probably can does not need gills but can breathe underwater. Who knows?
but by the way, the last thing I just wanted to discuss, do you think this mother son relationship that they have, which is slightly strained and a little, you know tense, is that does she harbor ill feelings towards the kid for the husband's death? Like, I should have just
Mm,
let you die. I could have saved my partner. Why have I got you instead of him? In that sort of
yeah,
way.
yeah. I think a little bit of that does. Obviously, it's not her own kid, so that feeling I think is there, and that is heavily I think weighing on her. I think you see a little bit of a more positive um, psyche from the women early on when it's just her and the kid, and then eventually the guy comes, and then there's like a this thing of the whole death scenario, and then I think from there on, her this thing is different. Her dynamic with the kid is different, and probably that whole uh, scenario weighs her down or weighs heavily on the relationship.
Because she does want to give it back, right? That's the end. Like, that's the conversation that's happening in the flashbacks with her mentor, that she does want to abandon it, give it back. So there is, I'm
Yeah.
guessing, that I feel like is partly because of the fact that she's lost her husband, and for the sake of this experiment and for the sake of saving humanity. Now I wonder whether they knew that the end was coming,
I don't think
and
so.
they were
Because
just doing this as part of.
she was the backup, this thing, right? She was never supposed to be a part of the plan. The other one was supposed to be, which is also
Yeah,
very weird.
yeah.
You would think they would want not just one person because according to what they say, there are only two people who've worked on the emotion engine, and for them to kind of put everything on just one person and like call that person up only. What if something goes wrong with that person? You don't want to have backup for something that's so critical. Like it is about emotions, and you're like, and you think that's a critical part of the AI or the next human generation, and you're basing all of that on one person who anyway eventually goes missing
Yeah,
throughout that whole dilemma. So it was kind of weird for me that the
yeah. You
government
think
would
you'd
do
want to
that.
have
You
you want to have a team, right? You think that there'd be a team.
back up, yeah, yeah, like I mean, just two people doing this, like okay, cool, like I don't know.
The brainiest of brainiest to come up with just this is their
Yeah.
two
No,
speciality.
it would be a lot more believable if the reason why the emotion engine was being developed was because they were expecting a end of the world scenario, and that information was only given to these people, which is why they could not tell a lot more people, which is why they needed to keep like
But
two
but
man.
with that, yeah, but that with that being said, you would not then want the second most important person living in the second floor of a condominium, right?
Exactly,
You'd
right?
pick
Yeah,
them up and
yeah,
like take them away straight away.
definitely.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, it's they're questionable decisions definitely made. But yeah, I mean, they're questionable decisions as to why we reviewed it, but we have reviewed this movie nonetheless. So I guess that's about it for our review of The Great Flood. Don't forget to hit the like button, share with friends and family, follow us on Instagram as well as on YouTube. We will be reviewing a lot more movies, a few more Korean ones also, I guess, along the way. And we will catch you all on our next episode. Until then, bye bye.